life of C.S. Lewis. He was born November 29th, 1898 in Belfast, Ireland. He had a rather difficult early life. His mother died when he was young, didn't have a good relationship with his father, and he tried to enter Oxford University, but he ended up being commissioned as a second lieutenant instead, and he suffered battle wounds in 1918. There are parallels between Lewis and Tolkien's early life. Tolkien was born January 3rd, 1819, and both his father and his mother died when he was young. He was also wounded in a battle. So just by way of comparison, they both had difficult early lives, and they lost at least one of their parents when they were young. They both served in battle and were both wounded while they were serving in battle. So Tolkien was interested in fictional writing for quite some time, and he actually spent about 40 years writing fictional works before he became famous. So I think this is something that's pretty interesting because it shows that he was genuinely interested in writing. He wasn't interested in just fame or money, but he was genuinely interested in just writing fictional works. And he spent 40 years. That's a really long time to be writing. And that was all before he became well known with the trilogy. So he married his wife in 1915. He had 4 children. His day job, he worked as a professor, a public professor. And not only was he a good fiction writer, but he was a good nonfiction writer too. He made important contributions with scholarly works during his day job. So Tolkien was Catholic from an early age, and seemingly a pretty strong Catholic based on the Lord of the Rings trilogy, the symbols of Christianity and references to Christianity that are present in his works. Lewis, however, had quite a different view on religion. He at first did not believe in God, and he opposed religion in general. And in 1916, he actually said, "I believe in no religion. There is absolutely no proof for any of them. And from a philosophical standpoint, Christianity is not even the best. All religions, that is, all mythologies, to give them their proper name, are merely man's own invention." But he changed his mind in 1929 when his good friend Tolkien conversed with him about his objections, and he started believing in God in 1929. And then 2 years later, in 1931, he talked with another one of his friends, Hugo Dyson, and he convinced him to convert to Christianity. So Lewis became an Anglican and remained an Anglican for the rest of his life, much to the disappointment of his Catholic friend Tolkien. So when Lewis was serving in the military, he and his roommate mutually promised each other that they would take care of either of their parents if one of them should die. His roommate did die while he was serving in the military, and Lewis took care of his roommate's mother for the rest of her life. And Lewis married quite later than Tolkien did. He married in 1956, but sadly, his wife died only 4 years after they were married. So Lewis and Tolkien, as we all know, are both very popular, and I think it's interesting how they have so many parallels in their lives. They lived at the same time, they were good friends, they had similar things happen to them during their lives, and in a sense they have written similar books. Even though they're distinct, they do have similarities to each other. And so obviously they're very famous for their excellent writings, and they'll probably continue to be so for quite a long time. So are there any comments or questions?